What's going on, guys? It's Nick here, back with another video. It's Monday, soon a time, and it's time for the Mock Draft Monday. Half PPR, 12-team league in this one. I'm going to go from the 4 pick. Now, I want to do an early because there's so much talk around the industry right now that you need a late round pick this season, that late round picks are way better. And again, I agree. Last week we talked about how if I had my pick, whether it's half or full PPR in a 12-team league, I would go with pick 11 because I think there's 14 top players. At 11, you're guaranteed that spot. Some people have talked about a top 15, a top 16, but I think the general consensus that late first rounders are good this season. But sometimes I also feel like that narrative gets thrown, goes a little bit too hard, right? Like people are a little too over the top about how valuable it is. Last season, it did end up that late first rounders were good, but that's also because there were a lot of busts and a lot of second rounders kind of in that spot that broke out and had really good seasons. Historically, if you look over time, over years and years and years of data, the most championships come from early first round picks because historically, when you have these players who are capable of these monster seasons go off, like when the early first round actually goes off, you have league winning seasons, and obviously championships come from only like 10 or 15 players. So I don't want the narrative to go too far and say you can't win from an early first round pick, just that it's flat. And honestly, this season, I think it doesn't matter as much. You can win from any spot. So let's do a pick from the early first round. Again, I'm going to go with 4. I think you can build a very similar team from like 2 through 6. I think you can get a very similar build. I would probably prefer the 101 to get Jamar Chase, but we will go with 104. So we'll see what they do. Jamar Chase, Saquon Barkley, Justin Jefferson. So if this is my league, we're going to pretend that right now I am drafting my like most important league. These are my friends from high school. I've got to win this league. I am probably going with Bijan Robinson. I think there's a case to be made for Gibbs. I think there's a case to be made to go wide receiver and go CeeDee Lamb. I think wide receiver, there's more of a case to be made in full PPR where you can really capitalize on that. 3 wide receiver leagues. I think it makes a little bit more sense. But if I'm in this spot, I still feel good going running back. Now, the one strategy perspective is to say, okay, when I get into this late second round, I love JT. I love Chase Brown. I love Bucky Irving, right? There's really good running backs, and it can be dangerous going running back. We'll see what we end up doing in this one. It's still fine to do that, but that would also be a case to say, you know what, I'll go CeeDee Lamb. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have 2 good running backs at 209, at 304. That can be there. At the end of the day, and what I kind of wanted to go over in this video with these early first rounders is there is still a reason why you don't see the top 6 get mixed up. People can say all they want that the late first round isn't that much worse than the top end, but if it was marginal and if it was actually super flat, you would see Brian Thomas Jr. go top 5. You would see Neighbors and Puka and Amon-Ra go here. You don't, because these guys are actually more valuable. They're more consistent on a weekly basis. They have more upside, both weekly and season long. There is a reason the top 6 does not change. So at the end of the day, we can all sit here and say the late first round picks are better because we can get 2 of these good players, but you are still getting a top 6 player with a top 6 pick. And the top 6, again, I think personally is clear this season. And it's what went in this draft. Chase, Saquon, Jefferson, Bijan, Gibbs, Lamb. You can jumble that up pretty much however you want, with Chase always being first in all formats. But again, I think that's the top 6. And you still lock one of them up with a top 6 pick. So as I alluded to, if you look at running backs, I love Bucky Irving. I love Jonathan Taylor. I'll pull up, not for you all to see, but for me to see on the side, I'll pull up my rankings over here just so we're getting most accurate takes. I definitely would not take Kyron over Chase Brown. I think it's very obvious here. It's Bucky, JT, and Chase Brown. I don't think there's really any case to be made of like a different grouping there. I'll pull up the queue. Oh, I didn't queue any of them. Oh, I starred them. That's kind of annoying on Sleeper. The queue should be the same as the star. All right. That's the top end. I have it JT, then Bucky, then Chase Brown. Again, love all 3. Would be fantastic to get one of them in the 3rd round. Unlikely that occurs. Got to know in the back of our minds that they're probably not going to be there. Top end wide receivers gone. So now that we have Chase. Now that we have Keenan Allen going to the Chargers, Ladd drops. He's a 3rd round pick now. I thought he was in that same grouping as London and A.J. Brown, in a tier behind Puka, Brian Thomas, Amon-Ra, and Nico. Not the case anymore. He jumps into this tier of, JSN, Tyreek Hill, T. Higgins, Garrett Wilson, all these players. I don't think you go wide receiver here. And again, that's why strategy-wise, maybe you can lean CD in some leagues. I think I want to do a draft because I think a lot of people this season are going to have this exact start from an early pick. They're going to say, I got to get Bijan or Saquon or Gibbs. They get to the spot. All the wide receivers are gone. Now what? What do we do in the draft? Can we go running back to start things off? I think yes. I think you can absolutely do that in a site like Underdog, where a lot of content around the community is based right now. You're foregoing wide receiver for a long time through wide receiver format. It's best ball. So that's why you've heard a lot the wide receiver dries up. In your season-long leagues, wide receiver will dry up, but not even nearly to the same degree that it will on Underdog. We're going to have options in these middle rounds at wide receiver. So I know I've said a lot that it dries up, and it does, but don't be too scared to go with these amazing running backs. Like these three that I have on the board right now are absolutely phenomenal picks. They are highly deserving of late second round selections, and they will not be there at our third round pick. And so I think you just lock one of them up. We take Bijan, we take one of these guys again. I'd be fine if you took any of them. My rankings do have it. JT, 0.5 points behind that Bucky Irving, 0.3 points behind that Chase Brown. If you wanted to put Chase Brown over here, and I would consider it honestly because of the White injury. I just don't know the whole context behind the Rachaad White injury right now. They love Sean Tucker, so I think you would kind of just slide in to that role. But maybe we do bump up Bucky Irving, just given our entire confidence in Bucky Irving being like a potential featured running back, being the best running back on the team, ton of touches. I have that confidence in Jonathan Taylor. But at the end of the day, do I have confidence in the quarterback play of the Colts? Maybe not as much. So we'll go with that. And also by ADP, maybe there's a slight chance JT is actually available in the next pick, but Bucky will not be at that next spot. So we're going to go with those two, and we will see what ends up happening at this spot. All right. I'm very, very interested in what we can do here. So tight end, two are gone. Bowers and Kittle, or Bowers and McBride are going to go in that 2-3 kind of turn area. Kittle's going to be the next one. I don't love taking Kittle right after them. I think the value of Kittle is that a lot of times you can get him in this late third round. Not as valuable taking him right after these top two tight ends who are better picks at tight ends. But Kittle would be there. Kittle right now I have at 402. So again, I probably wouldn't draft him. At wide receiver, Hill, I did move Hill behind T. Higgins just because I don't know. I mean, he just might lose it this season in terms of like physically, mentally, like everything. Like something just seems very off there, so I'm a little bit scared. So T would be the guy. I would have it T, then Tyreek. Ladd already went. Marvin Harrison Jr., Adams, JSN. But I'm very interested to see if we forego T. Higgins and we take the other clearly second round talent in Chase Brown, and I have Bijan Robinson, Bucky Irving, and Chase Brown. Because I can start them all, right? Obviously, I have running back 1, running back 2, and flex spot. All of them can be started this season, and then we just wait. There's other running backs I love, right? I love Ryan Hampton. I love Kenneth Walker. I don't think either one would be available to us at the next pick. I love Travion Henderson, but we will get to a point where I just don't like these running backs nearly as much, and maybe we go wide receiver. And I want to do a build like this because some of you are going to be forced into this situation, and I honestly just want to see, is it okay? Can we exit this draft going 3 running backs, something that probably over time is suboptimal, but 3 running backs we know are going to have unbelievable roles this season. Can we do it? Can we go running back heavy, robust RB? Can we do it from an early first round pick and gain some edge on these people who, let's face it, when you go with these late first round picks, you're going wide receiver heavy. Like the draft is just going to push you in a direction where you're taking a lot of wide receivers. You're looking Kittle, you're looking Daniels, you're looking Burrow. Like these teams, 8 through 12 at most have 2. 3 of the teams only have 1 running back through 4, and 1 of the team has none. They're going to have to draft a lot of running backs later on. And what if we get another season like last year where some of these running backs at top end really hit? So, of course. So, in this draft, of course, Marvin Hampton, Kenneth Walker still on the board. I will say this. That's unrealistic. So, you will not see a Marvin Hampton in the late 4th round. So, honestly, maybe it's glad that I started off this running back heavy so that we're not forced into that, because it's just not going to happen. Someone is going to take him. They would take him ahead of Kamara, probably take him ahead of Breece Hall, take him ahead of Cook. Like, he is not going to be available at this pick. I think Ken Walker might be, but I would say in more competitive leagues, probably not. So we're, of course, not going to draft them. We'll remove them from the spot, and we'll just pretend that Amari Hampton was already drafted, because let's be honest, he would. DJ Moore's a great pick. Courtland Sutton, honestly, for a team like this, would be a good pick. You guys know my reservations on Sutton being like, I don't know if the ceiling is there. At wide receiver at this point, like, we have running back obviously locked up. We're going to be crushing running back every single week. Flex spots locked up because running backs are more consistent every week, more projectable. So we're going to be wanting, obviously, that running back the flex spot. We just need to not fail at wide receiver, not screw it up. So we're going to take a ton of shots not screwing it up. And Sutton is a pick to not screw it up. You know he's going to have a great role this season. Upside, no, but he's going to have a really strong role. But I would still say I'd be pretty surprised if DJ Moore was not my top-ranked wide receiver here. Yeah, DJ Moore's the top wide receiver. It's close between him, Worthy, Tet McMillan, but like I said, this is an underdog. Like, there's going to be options for us at wide receiver. So let's see if we can get this draft. So we go with DJ Moore. I don't think any other weird picks have been made. Again, Hampton is going to go earlier. Rashee Rice, probably just pretend that Worthy, I would say. Worthy probably goes here, and Rice probably goes around 5-6. I would think Rice would go a little bit later than he is right here in a redraft league. My guess is Marv would go a little bit earlier, and that Burrow usually will go behind Hurts. But I wouldn't be shocked if people really wanted Joe Burrow this season, so they'll probably both go pretty early in hometown leagues. Again, when this happens, we just wait forever. We'll wait forever at quarterback. Kittle's also gone, so my general philosophy here is we're not going there at tight end. We're basically going to say, okay, I'm waiting a while. I'm going Njoku, Tyler Warren, Colston Loveland, Tucker Kraft, Jake Ferguson, Dallas Goedert, Hunter Henry, Bretton Strange. Everyone that I start off here, those are the options for us. I probably wouldn't want to wait and take like late quarterback and then grab like double dip on like Strange and Henry. Look, at that point, we've taken too many shots at running back and wide receiver, but I'm waiting at both of those positions. Now we're just taking a bunch of wide receivers. So how I have the rankings now, I have it as Tet probably won't be available. I mean, these teams are going to have to start drafting some non-wide receivers, but we've got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We've got 16 picks into our next spot. Probably can't play the ADP game on Tet McMillan. It would be great if we could go someone else and then grab Tet after that. But it's Tet, it's Pickens, it's Devonta Smith. Pickens probably won't be there. Devonta Smith not on the board. Waddle. Maybe we can get Waddle at the next pick. I'm just thinking, like, do we take Sutton as that safe wide receiver 2? Hope that one of Tet or Waddle are there at the next one, or Pickens. That'd basically be the play. And I think I would probably do that. I would probably take Courtland Sutton, cross my fingers, hope that these guys realize, all right, I have to start taking some running backs, some tight ends are going off the board. This is basically what's happening so far. We've still got 2 of them left. Only one of them left. And we did it. Excellent. So we're going to get Jalen Waddle. So after that turn, we did only see 5 wide receivers go off the board. Zay Flowers, Pickens, J-Mo, Tet, Olave. And nothing like that was very strange. A lot of people don't like Jalen Waddle. I love Jalen Waddle this season. It kind of goes into my thinking of Tyreek Hill. I really just like, something seems so off with Tyreek Hill, and that it's like obviously we know reception perception showed like the drop off in play was clear, right? He's not as good as he was before. That's not a huge problem. He can be worse than he was before and still be a great wide receiver. The problem is more just like the vibes around the team, the vibes around him. Like if Tua got hurt, I think there's almost a 100% chance that they would trade away Tyreek Hill. If they miss the playoffs, like they're kind of out of it by then, I think they trade away Tyreek Hill. Like I just think there's a chance that like he just like they get frustrated with him and they trade him away regardless. Like, I think there's a team that way he's not on the team even without an injury, and if that happens, Jalen Waddle is going to be a top 7 wide receiver, and you can get that in the late 6th round. That's upside. We've already gotten the security of Sutton. I think the security of DJ Moore, he's going to be someone they kind of feature. I didn't talk about him much in this build, but like they're going to feature him close to the line of scrimmage. He's going to get screen passes, drag routes. Like they're just going to get the ball into his hands and have him make plays after. That's going to be a very highly efficient role. And when they're struggling on offense, they're going to design plays to him. It gives them a really nice floor and ceiling every week. So this combination is going to be great for us. You're going to add in Waddle. If you wanted to add in, honestly, Travis Hunter into that mix as well, I have Waddle ahead. And I think, upside wise, I like that as well. But Ridley you could throw into the mix here. Like Travis Hunter is great. Ridley is great. Dunze is a great pick here. So again, we're going to take Waddle. You can kind of see how, yes, you can get kind of unlucky and say, oh man, like, one of like the Drake London and AJ Brown tier isn't there. I'm forced to go with these running backs early on. Yeah, but look at the wide receiver room we're building. Again, DJ Moore, Courtland Sutton, Jalen Waddle. Unfortunately, Addison, Ridley, and Travis Hunter all go off the board. So we can't draft one of them. But I think Rome Odunze would be, he'd be the top wide receiver. It'd be Odunze, and right after that, honestly, is Pearsall. But Pearsall goes a little bit later. So we'll play ADP game with Pearsall a little bit. But Odunze is a phenomenal pick at this spot. You would have 2 Chicago players, so my gut would say no. I don't see the value in going like truly like the difference between like Mark Andrews, Evan Ingram, John was way too early here, but and Njoku, Loveland, Warren, like all these guys, it's so minimal that I just don't want to go there. Pollard, where's my new ranking of Pollard? So you guys, we know the high ankle sprain for Tyjae Spears. I moved him up, and I moved him up like a crazy amount because Spears still has some time to recover. But I have Pollard at 71, the 6'11", so we're at 74. But I do have him right behind Caleb Johnson. So it would be Caleb Johnson, then Tony Pollard if we wanted to go running back. I don't think we need to go running back at this spot. And then quarterback, we're certainly not touching those quarterbacks in this range. I think I would be fine going at Dunze because especially this is not a wide receiver we're starting. But what's the projection difference between a Dunze and Pearsall? It's 3.5 points. Is that worth it? Probably. No, we can get Pearsall still after that. All right, I would probably just go with Dunze. I'd probably just go with Dunze, take the 2. I think that's totally fine. You're hoping, obviously, the Chicago puts it together this season, has a really good year, that both of them kind of elevate past what they were last season in basically a worst possible situation. I'm fine. Like, again, it's not optimal, but I think like he was so clearly the top wide receiver that it's fine doing. I don't want to force it. If there was like, I don't know, like if Tet or like J-Mo was on the board there, if like Ridley or Travis Hunter, if they were available that pick, you definitely go with them over Rome. But I don't want to take Pearsall at that spot because now I can just take Pearsall here as clearly the top ranked wide receiver. So I think this is working out for us. Again, here's the start. It looks weird and it felt uncomfortable going with the top 3. But we've got Bijan, Bucky Irving, and Chase Brown. They're probably all going to project to start the season as, top 12 running backs. They're all going to project as easy auto must starts in any matchup. So I now have that at running back 1, running back 2, and flex. I only have to figure out 2 wide receivers. And I've got DJ Moore, Courtland Sutton, Jalen Waddle, Rome Odunze, and Pearsall. We will figure out 2 wide receiver starts over the course of the season. There will be injuries. Some of these guys will over and underperform. Honestly, we're just going to be able to start the better between Odunze and DJ Moore, whoever has the better role. We can trade in season, obviously. If a couple of these guys all start dropping nukes, and I don't know how to start every week because everyone's going off, I can trade. So you have options just kind of stockpiling these wide receivers. I think it's working out for us. I forget if we actually have 14 or 15 rounds in this one, so I want to pull this up and count it because remember, Sleeper does something weird. We have 3 bench spots. We have quarterback, we have tight end, and we have defense. We'll do defense last. Again, I don't know the value in really going quarterback here. Drake May would be the most appealing, and he's by far the latest by ADP. I mean, you've got Purdy on the board, Dak Prescott. Like, I would be fine with Purdy, Dak, Caleb. And Caleb would make sense in this build because we went so heavy in Chicago. You might as well stack it. I'd be fine with Jordan Love, but he probably wouldn't be my favorite one. Fine with Justin Fields at the spot if we want to double dip. But Drake May would be my favorite. McCarthy would be fine. Trevor Lawrence would be a good pick. So still plenty of options for us there. And then we're still in a pretty good range for tight end where I don't really care which one of these guys we end up getting. So is there a running back? We definitely like Jordan Mason. And Jordan Mason honestly kind of represents the end of that top tier there. So definitely an option for us. We like Downs. I don't really want Jaden Reed with this whole foot injury. And plus, I don't think he's going to play in 2 wide receiver sets. I don't think he's going to be on the field a ton. He's going to lose targets to an ascending Tucker Kraft, and ascending obviously wasn't there last season in Matthew Golden. We like Jaden Higgins. We like Pittman. We like Keon Coleman. But I think Josh Downs is clearly the top wide receiver. But I would say top player is clearly Jordan Mason. So kind of keep stockpiling some talent at running back. Maybe you'll end up going with our quarterback in Drake May soon. Honestly, I would probably take May in 14. Maybe in round 10, we go with another wide receiver if there's one we like. 14, we go with May. Maybe 12 and 13, we double dip on tight end. And then we take a defense in the last round. And if there's actually 15th, we can just grab a sleeper pick at that spot. But again, I think this draft has worked out really, really well for us, even investing that heavily at the positions at running back early on. I don't think there's actually anyone at running back we want to touch here. I mean, maybe Tank Bigsby getting the early down workload, but I'd be fine with taking a shot on Jalen Blue later because I think he's going to end up being fine. Tootin later on. But Bigsby would be the top play there. At wide receiver, I think I would rather take a shot on Higgins. I think that's what I prefer to do. If we're trying to take as many shots as we can at wide receiver to fill 2 spots, give me the rookie opposite Nico that people are very, very excited about. There were a lot of people who said even as early as he got drafted in that second round, he maybe should have definitely been a first round wide receiver. And if this offense can get going, he could be unbelievable. And if they don't have Mixon to start the season, then they're going to have to throw it every single play. So I think take the upside on Jaden Higgins. We will take a quarterback, probably Drake May, at this next pick. All right, we will draft Drake May. We will take 2 tight ends after. A lot of people ask if you wait on quarterback and tight end, which you double dip on. It's tight end. At quarterback, you can stream the position. You take 2 tight ends because it's so hard, right? It's so hard to actually identify the breakout. And so you take 2 shots at trying to do it. It's not actually that hard to hit on the breakout quarterbacks. We know which quarterback is going to be most valuable, and it is Drake May. He is probably the best pick later on. And if that doesn't happen, honestly, either through a trade or through Trevor Lawrence might be on free agency at the end of this, Michael Penix Jr., Bryce Young, there will be options for us to kind of stream the position. Whichever, Colts quarterback is starting between AR and Daniel Jones, you might want to start in a week. So you can kind of do that. At tight end, it's that's actually unfortunate. We actually did just hit a range of tight end where we didn't want to be double dipping. So that's not great. Did every single person take 2? 1, 2, 3. Okay, 5 computers didn't take 2. But a decent amount ended up taking 2. And right before we went, the Ferguson and Pitts range. So that's one thing I would say. If I would optimize this better, I would have taken, instead of this Jaden Higgins pick, I should have taken Kraft. And then I would have had Kraft, Drake May, and then we just gotten a wide receiver at this spot instead of Jaden Higgins. So I messed that up. That's unfortunate. Do I wait? Do I think these teams are going to all take 2? In a real league, you wouldn't take 2 grabbing Kittle or Bowers, but there's a couple teams here, the Engram team, the Goddard team, and the Kincaid team might actually do it. So, all right. I would probably grab one. I have Strange over Hunter Henry. I would probably just lock that up, and there's nothing weird here. Yeah. My tough part is Tank is still on the board. I could grab Tank Bigsby, and then in the final 2, because I'm pretty sure. Let me pull up the roster here. Oh, no, it is just 1. We only have the 6 bench spots. So I do have to take tight end. Okay. So we'll take Strange. Again, I have him over Hunter Henry. You could argue for the stack. And I would like Hunter Henry with this pick, but I wanted to make sure if one actually got taken. Yeah. All right. Strange and Hunter Henry. I like both late. I'd say I like the double dip here because I'm not confident in either one of them. Ideally, again, I don't want to be in this range. I want to be in Kraft, Ferguson, Warren, Njoku, Loveland, Goddard. That's the range I want to be in for my first. And if I want to take a second, that's when I want Strange Hunter Henry. It's okay that we kind of messed this one up. I guess it's one to kind of consider in future weeks. But if we had to do it, it's Strange and Henry. I think that Liam Cohen has used his tight ends a decent amount. They have a decent amount of receptions, and he hasn't had that great of tight ends. It's going to be a really good offense, and it's only blocking tight ends behind Strange. So we know Strange is going to be on the field a ton running pass routes, and no one's going to focus on him because Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas Jr. are so amazing. So I like Strange. And then Hunter Henry has a great red zone role. The Patriots are going to be in the red zone more this season. The offense is going to be much better. He's their clear receiving tight end. So I like both of them. I don't know which one's going to be the one we want to be starting, but that's why you draft two, and we figure it out after that. All right, and then we just draft a defense. I'll pull up the defense rankings. Again, there weren't that many early season schedules that we loved at defense. Obviously, the Broncos are just the optimal defense to draft the season, but they're always going to go really early. I have it Broncos, Steelers, Vikings. I'll look off the board. Bills, Texans off the board. I think I need to move the Cowboys down. Ravens, Bears off the board. There's a lot of teams that have been drafted here. Chargers, Packers, Seahawks. All right, Seahawks. I don't know who they play in week 1. San Fran? Oh, goodness, no. I don't want to be doing that. Who the Chiefs play? Chargers? That would be interesting with their offensive linemen out, but I would want Chiefs at home. That would be a lot better. Bucs have a bad defense, so I don't know why they're so high there. Green Bay plays Detroit. That's not amazing. Jets play Pittsburgh. That is interesting. Jets at home against the Steelers. Aaron Rodgers could completely fall apart. He could take a ton of sacks. He could make mistakes, and that offense could just be bad. Patriots, though, play the Raiders, and that would also be interesting. Patriots also have a pretty solid defense this season. Oh, the Giants, so they have a good matchup at Washington. The Giants have a great pass rush. They might get 1 million sacks this year. So maybe that would be the one I would lean. It just stinks that it's the Commanders. I don't really want to play that. But what if Terry's not there? I would consider it. I don't know. Whatever you want to do at defense. But I feel like the Giants are going to project well because they're going to have just a ferocious pass rush and just going to get a ton of sacks. All right. Let me know how you think it worked out. Again, this is what I wanted to test out in this video was what happens when you have that early pick, you go with that running back, you don't have the option for wide receiver. I don't think you should have drafted wide receiver at that second pick, no matter how this worked out. I don't think the play is wide receiver. And how do you pass on Chase Brown? Like, I know you could go with T, you could go with Tyreek if you wanted to. I just don't see how you pass on Chase Brown at this spot. Like, these three are going to carry every single week. We should be expecting like 15 to 18 points every single week with upside from there if they score more touchdowns from all three of these guys. That is such a good core of your roster. You know I love Drake May. I think he'd be a top 10 quarterback. We will figure out the tight end position. And then wide receiver. I don't think I'm that lacking at wide receiver. Having Moore, Sutton, Waddle, Odunze, Pearsall, Higgins, like we're going to figure out those two wide receiver spots every single week. So let me know what you think of the build. Again, the best thing we could have done was shift this up, take Kraft at that spot instead of one of Strange or Hunter Henry would have drafted like a Luther Burden, Shaheed, Kyle Williams, someone like that. That was probably a mistake, but hey, you live and you learn. So that'll do it for this one. If you have any questions, throw it in the comment section, but also come to the live stream tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Eastern. Answer any questions you have. We'll do 2 live drafts. And if you have a draft coming up, obviously use the rankings available on the website, thefantasyfootballadvice.com. All right, that'll do it for this one. Thank you all for watching. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new here, and thanks for watching.